All right, brothers and sisters, peace and blessings. This is the Cosmocentric Mystic coming at you once again with a discussion on something that is different. Recently in Texas, there was a brother that lost his life unnecessarily. Um, and so I'll just first go ahead and play this clip for you and then let the clip speak for itself and then talk about it and what it means if this happens. My heart goes out to the family of this brother um, because he clearly, you know, like always, didn't deserve death. This was something that was something that could have been avoided, something that did not need to happen, um, and it was sad. The brother's name, I'll just play this for you and then take it from there.
And their lawyer, Price, had noticed at a gas station in the small town of Wolf City, about an hour's drive northeast of Dallas, a man and a woman engaged in a fight, a man striking a woman. Price's family says he intervened to break up that situation. And that's when an officer arrived at the scene shortly after. Price was tased by Officer Sean Lucas and shot. He died later at a hospital. Texas Rangers, the state police force that is investigating this shooting, says that the officer attempted to detain Price, who resisted in a non-threatening posture and then began walking away. Lee Merritt, the lawyer for Jonathan Price's family, says that the entire situation had already been resolved before the officer arrived, and that Price had his arms raised and was trying to explain what was happening. The Texas Rangers, in a statement last night, said that the officer's actions were, quote, not objectionably reasonable. Now, one of the things that the Texas Rangers statement that they put out last night detailing what happened does not say why the officer was trying to arrest Price, how many times he was shot, or where he was shot. So all of these questions still remain out there. But this officer used his taser and then fired shots at Jonathan Price. And as I said, he later died in a hospital Saturday night. Sean Lucas, the Wolf City police officer involved in this shooting, was arrested Monday night, last night, by Texas Rangers police, has been charged with murder, and is being held on a $1 million bond. Lee Merritt, the attorney.
So, man, what is it with officers and black men? Like, why are you all always shooting us? You know, what's the deal? You know what I'm saying? Like, some of our prominent scholars in the community say that there is a natural fear that Europeans developed that was a part of their going around the world and seeing that they were a minority and everybody else in the world were people of color except people from the European continent, and that there was this fear of genetic annihilation that was developed, and that every interaction that you have with us that ends up being deadly is a response to this innate fear that's there. And, honestly, it just kind of looks like that. It doesn't make sense why you feel the need to consistently take the life of black men. That just does not make sense. In this case, this was a good brother. This brother played college football. He trained other young brothers in the community to put their health and their fitness above nonsense. Essentially, he went to college. He was a good brother. Clearly the community loved him. And it's just extremely, extremely sad when this happens. You understand what I'm saying? Like, to have such a brother being taken out of the community. And not all brothers are on the up and up, but just because you have this fear of us, it is acceptable to take our life. And that's really sad. I mean, listen to this interview given right here. I mean, and then on top of that, well, the impact and the power, just the sadness and the emotion that the father felt in this next clip I'm going to show you was just intense. I had to show it to you. But then on top of that, when the people were expressing their outrage of the situation, why did a person show up with a gun to antagonize the protesters? And I'll show you this clip in a second. But the protesters were out there, holding a vigil essentially for Jonathan Price and his passing, his unjust passing at the hands of this officer due to this officer's fear, due to this officer's lack of critical judgment. And a man shows up with an AR-15, or I don't know guns, but it's some sort of automatic long rifle or whatever. For what? Like, why do you all feel the need to bring guns to us? That doesn't make any sense. What's up with you all on that? That's just wild and madness. So here is this interview here, and it's just really sad and impactful, to listen to this statement. But this is a real statement.
I remember that moment. Watching my son
And I was talking with a couple of sisters the other day, and I was saying, I came across this knowledge a long time ago that if you want to be an activist, if you want to work for the community, and if you want to be a person who helps his people, it's really difficult to maintain relationships in that capacity, because you have the time that the community is going to call for you. You just don't have, and that's going to be the time that the sister's going to want to spend with you. And so you have to make a choice. And I just saw that as like sisters don't understand the commitments of the revolution and so on and so forth, right? But another sister broke it down to me, and she said, we're always the ones to experience loss. And what that father just said, I can only imagine, the pain that he said, what do you remember about that moment? He said, watching his son pass. That's sad. And it just struck me, watching his son pass. Like, how many of us have to say that? How many of us have to deal with that? We have to consistently deal with that. So in truth, this officer needs to be charged with murder. And then we need to really seriously look at these other cases with these police who take unjust, unfair action and charge them accordingly. There cannot be protected immunity against the unfair discharge of justice, or the unfair use of justice, so to speak. But then you have this situation happening later on. This is absolutely crazy. Right? This guy right here, these people are having a vigil, even if they were protesting. This dude shows up with a gun. This dude shows up with a gun for what? What is the deal here? What is the deal? I mean, he's probably thinking it's, the Black Lives Matter anarchists that have attached themselves to the Black Lives Matter movement. But in general, these brothers and sisters are out here, showing their remorse, showing their grief, grieving. This is a grieving process. And this cat shows up with a gun. And look at him. He's standing there antagonizing the crowd. This is a Kyle Rittenhouse all over again. And he's got everybody amped up. And he's just standing there waiting for something to happen, looking to take a life. Look at this. There is no reason to have this dude here right now. But right now he's waiting. And this dude keeps stopping. The crowd is hyped up, right? And he keeps stopping. For what? Waiting on what? What's he waiting on? See, and then to have hate in your heart is wrong. You know, people of African descent, it's really easy for us to unify around. It's not even that, just people in general. It's really easy for people to unify around tribal consciousness, you know, racial consciousness. To say one, this is we're different, and they're different, and let's connect on that. When you lose the essence of who all of us are, which we are all connected to the divine essence, you know, this tribalism stuff is something we have to deal with because it is in the physical realm. But this is still showing the humanity of brothers and sisters. You have a white sister here stopping this brother from going up. Because this cat right here, right now, he's just waiting for a reason to say I was doing this in self-defense. You know, this is crazy. He's waiting, antagonizing. He could turn around and go to his car. But no, he decides to stand here. And the crowd really is acting stupid to me. Now, I'm not stupid emotional. The crowd is acting emotional. Because all he really has to do is let one or two shots off, and everybody's going to scatter. But because they're so emotional, they're not thinking rationally. You know, because it's a highly intense situation. Everybody is at grief. Everybody's experiencing grief. And he's come there to make the situation worse. And his thing is he's probably going to say he was protecting property. So you're going to take life. So you're saying life over property, but you're seeing that these people were clearly not the people that were destroying property. You should have left, but you decide to antagonize the situation with a gun. That's crazy. Unnecessary. This is clearly something that goes. This is clearly an issue that goes across the board and across the states. It's actually a global issue on a different level. But this is a step forward with the charge of this officer. Now we have to see a conviction, and then we have to see systemic change. Catch me in a second as we discuss, as I discuss this latest development with InFact. And in the meantime, may peace and blessings be with you.